Good morning, everybody. Thanks a lot for the invitation, and I'm very happy to be here on behalf of the World Bank. The topic of the conference is very important, going green. Let's start with the challenging news. Serbia consumes about 3.5 times more energy than the EU average to produce the same amount of gross national income, that is, to produce the same amount of goods and services. The country, as we know, is the largest greenhouse gas emitter in the Western Balkans. Its energy sector is heavily reliant on coal and other fossil fuels, and in its quest to grow faster, become a high-income country and enter the EU, Serbia will have to lower its energy intensity. There is no other way. The good news is that Serbia has made some important commitments in response to global efforts towards climate mitigation. Indeed, policymakers in Serbia have promoted investment in renewable energy, thinking especially about solar and wind, including through competitive auctions that we have supported at the World Bank. But we have highlighted that attracting more private sector engagement in what is traditionally a public sector domain, especially in Serbia with the predominance of EPS, will be very important moving forward. So I mentioned growth, I mentioned high income, I mentioned accession to the EU. You might think, why are you talking about these things? We're talking about the green transition. But I think it's important to remember to everybody that the green transition is not only an environmental imperative, it can also be, and it will be, the cornerstone of Serbia's long-term economic competitiveness and productivity. And if you look at the specialized literature, academic journals, think tanks, and so on, you see that staying brown, as we say, doesn't pay off. It reduces access to finance, it creates trade barriers, we don't need more trade barriers today, and also limits the take-up of modern technology. While going green can facilitate the structural transformation of the economy through the adoption of innovation and new knowledge, and also this can lead to job creation, if supported by the appropriate policies. This is something that we discuss with policymakers here day in and day out. And the bank, we like numbers, so we just recently published a study called Serbia Climate and Development Report, and we're trying to quantify the cost required to reach net zero emission by 2050 in this country. So on the mitigation front, we estimate that the incremental investment required would amount to around 1.6% of GDP per year until 2050 on average, as that's quite a tall order. Data show that Serbia could meet its target, this is your target, the target of the country, of a 40.3% emission reduction by 2030 compared to what you were emitting in 1919 by implementing the measure that you listed in your National Energy and Climate Plan. And this will be achieved essentially through scaling up solar and wind and building additional natural gas capacity to support the gradual phase down of coal. But beyond 2030, significant transformation will be required, such as decommissioning completely the coal-fired generation by 2040, a substantial increase in the penetration of renewables. There is a good start, but it's not enough. Transportation, also the transport and building sectors, and significant shift in industry, including the use of carbon capture and storage. Also, we've been arguing that this country should introduce a carbon tax. That would be very important. And on the adaptation front, the bill is even higher. According to our projections, Serbia will need to invest about 2.3% of GDP per year between this year, 2025, and 2050, just to avert the negative consequences of ongoing climate impact. So, however you're going to slice it and dice it, the bottom line is the following. Going green will not be cheap, and it will not be easy. But it can deliver really important results on growth, on competitive, and also on human development. For instance, we also saw that if you achieve better air quality in the country, you could reduce pollution-related mortality by 15% by 2050. We are working with the government on this ambitious journey. We have a lot of activities. Perhaps I just mentioned this scaling up residential clean energy project that I think it's very successful, and we recently went out across Serbia to speak to the beneficiaries. Maybe you are also beneficiary of this program. And also we are busy on the analytical front to provide the needed underpinning for policymakers to make the right decision. I mentioned the country climate and development report, but we also have a new report on green, livable, and resilient cities in Serbia. You can find them on our website. But to conclude, we really look forward to continuing to work together with the government of Serbia, the private sector, our development partners to make Serbia greener, more competitive, and more resilient. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the best for the proceeding of the